Alrighty, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy White Album here. Welcome back to some more Witch on the Holy Night. It's been a hot minute since I last played this, so let's get right into it. I do not remember what happened last time, so here we go. Let's load it up real quick. Alright, looks like we're here. Perfect. Hey, already guys know me. Let's drink some water real quick. Wet the whistle. Alright, and my dog is also acting like a fool, so hold on one moment. There we go. Alright, here we go. Story starts now. And so, the special winter cleaning team's activities ended uneventfully. The time was 3 in the afternoon. Upon departing, Kenomi and his crew invited Sojiro to hang out with them, but he declined politely. He declined politely, there we go, due to his job that evening. He had about 2 hours until his shift began. Not quite enough time to do anything fun, but just enough time to have to fill it with something. Sojiro thought about relaxing in a park somewhere, but quickly changed his mind after remembering how cold it was, even in the city. Not to forget that Aoko handed him those pills in the morning. Aoko was absolutely correct in her prediction. Heading back to the mansion now would just be a waste of time. There was no reason for him to return to the mansion until after his shift at work. Still, Sojiro found himself on the way back anyway. Having grown up deep in the mountains, a little 2-hour walk was really no sweat off his back. Masaki was one of the more quiet residential areas in Masaki City. The only thing that really stood out here was Shiro Inuzuka. It was a hill that led directly into the woods. The silhouette of the mountains served as a backdrop to suburbia, silently overshadowing the small human actions of the people who lived there. Even in this modern day of technological progress, the people here were always careful to pay reverence to the nature around them. If that mansion were a shrine, it would not be a haunted house, but a famous tourist attraction.
というより、今更気づいたけど。
Wait, I just realized something. The houses around Shiro Inuzuka were all magnificent. Sojiro understood as he looked from the bottom of this hill, where the rest of the town lived at the roof of the mansion tucked away in the woods. He understood what TYPEMOON was talking about how the Kuonji family who owned that mansion might be the richest people in town.
その割に家賃を取るところを見ると、やっぱり嫌われていると見るべきか。
Huh. They really hate me, do they? Why else would they ask me for rent? Sojiro began walking towards the mansion with such thoughts simmering in his mind. The feeling of the hard asphalt beneath his feet instead of the soft dirt felt lonely and isolating. He walked along the paved road for 10 minutes or so before reaching the iron fence of the wood. Beyond this fence was the private property of the Kuonji family. It was bereft, I think that's how you say that, of any awkward no trespassing signs. The tall, overbearing iron fence was more than enough to remind visitors that they were unwelcome there. Sojiro casually pushed on the iron gate. Only 2 days had passed since the end of the final exams, and he had already seemed more than comfortable with the idea of entering this wood alone. Wood? Just a single one? The path to the mansion from inside the wood curved and bent like a snake. I think I read that weird. It took about 15 minutes to reach the mansion on this path. He could have chosen to ignore the long incline and travel in a straight line through the woods, but he would have expended significantly more energy in doing so. No, using the wooded path was the sensible option, barring an emergency. Upon entering the foyer, Sojiro heard a conversation coming from the drawing room. It was no doubt Aoko and Alice. Sojiro decided to join them. Ever since the final exams have ended, Alice and Aoko had switched from their daily routine to a more irregular schedule. Aoko would disappear into Alice's room in the west wing of the mansion for a while, where she would remain. And Alice would go into Aoko's room, not to be seen again. Or they would vanish into the corridors leading to the rear of the mansion doing who knows what, where Sojiro was most certainly not allowed to enter. Not that he was interested in what they were doing, since Aoko and Alice did not seem to want to include him either, serving both parties nicely. The fuck? I don't think I've ever heard of anybody who's had a roommate like, yeah, we switch rooms. It's weird, but you know, we like to do it every once in a while. For the time being, the Kuonji estate was pretty peaceful. Yeah, it would be nice. It would be pretty nice
ただいま。
not having two people breathe down your fucking neck 24/7, right? I'm home. Sojiro suddenly opened the door to the drawing room. Even though they tried not to be involved in each other's businesses, Sojiro made it a habit to greet them. The two girls sat across from him on the sofa. On the table in front of them were a large, extravagantly decorated mirror. Alko was dressed for comfort, wearing jeans instead of her usual skirt. In stark contrast, Alice was dressed in her usual all black. Even though the break from the school was well underway, the witch still insisted on wearing black. As Awoko had explained, it was probably because it was too much effort for Alice to wear anything else. So she just has like a wardrobe of the same outfit? That's interesting. Sojiro's thought was that he would like to see her wear something different. Aoko and Alice seemed to be in the middle of some sort of dispute. The air in the drawing room was tense. They both ignored his greeting. Alice only briefly looked up at him.
じゃあ、東川の視点は？あそこの柱は白色だし、そう簡単には奪われないでしょ？
What about the Tokawa point? That pillar is white, so hopefully it won't be easy to remove.
ええ。今のところ東川は侵食されていないけど、一つ隣の鈴穂の視点が消された以上、楽観はできないわ。残りの割り出しは今までより早くなる。
Yes, the Tokawa one is still active, but the Suzuho support next to has gone, so we really can't be too careful. With each sigil they discover, they get better at finding the others.
そっか。一個釣れれば、あとは芋づる式だもんね。
That makes sense. I guess once they found one, they can easily find the other connections. I guess they're talking about like some like seals that they have going on.
反省したわ。甘く見てたのはこっちの方だった。ここからは、一週間単位の攻防になるわね。
I really messed up. I should have been more careful. This is going to turn into a weekly battle soon. Oh, are we finally getting some more action, man? We're finally turning up the heat. We've been simmering for a while, man. I want some action, baby. My boy, he's just sitting there. Look at that. That's a face of purity and innocence, man, and naivety. And he got pulled into some shit he should never have been in. But then again, if he hadn't, we wouldn't have this entire story, right? The two continue their heated discussion from the opposite sides of the table. Alko neglected even glance up at Sojiro. Sojiro sensed that she wanted to concentrate on the discussion at hand.
でも消せないな。
It's so strange, though.
あの夜に人形を出してくるタイミングといい、隠し方だけは一級品なうちの視点を短期間で特定することといい、こいつ、まず間違いなく市内にアジトを敷いてるわよね。
Setting aside the timing of the puppet that night and how quickly they were able to find our expertly hidden sigil, whoever it is most definitely has some sort of hideout in the city.
なのに、なんで結界に異常がないんだろう。三崎市一帯の索敵網は、もう100年近く破られたことがないのに。
But if that's the case, why aren't we detecting any abnormalities? There we go. I can speak English, guys, don't worry. In the field. The dragnet around Misaki City hasn't been broken for nearly 100 years. Aoko bit her nails nervously, while Alice nodded along. It seemed as though she was wondering the same thing.
母もここの結界には触れなかった。
Even my mother wasn't able to touch this bounded field.
岬の結界をかいくぐるには、あなたのおじいさんか、それ以上の技量を持つ魔術師でないと難しい。
The only other person capable of getting through Misaki's bounded field would have been your grandfather, or an even more capable mage.
けど、それほどの魔術師なら逆に、気配は隠しきれない。
but someone exuding that level of magical energy would find it that much harder to cover his or her tracks.
何か特殊な音響法かもしれないわね。ここ数年、新しいサークルの話は聞かないけど。
It could be some kind of unique concealment ward, but I haven't heard anything about any new fairy circles forming these past few years.
何？シャーウッドの森？メイキングなら以前、アリスの霧が粉砕したじゃない。あれ以上の音響があるっていうの？
Where was it? Sherwood Forest? Or Sherwood Forest? The May King was able to break through your mist, remember? Do you think that there's some sort of concealment stronger than that?
例えばの話よ。
She looks
今
derpy
回
here.
の相手は、こちら以上の技量を持っているか、こちらの知らない技術を持っているか。
All I'm saying is, if whoever we're dealing has skills greater than our own, maybe there are some techniques we aren't aware of.
どちらにせよ、評価を改めるべきね。私たち、気づかないうちに追い詰められているのかも。
Either way, we need to reevaluate things. We might be under more pressure than we thought. The two fell silent. Sojiro, after some eternal deliberation, decided to break the silence.
やあ、ただいま。
So, I'm home. Alko finally looked up at him in response to his hesitant declaration.
いいからお風呂に入ってきたら。汚れてるわよ、宗十郎。
That's fine, Sojiro. But will you please take a bath? Who the fuck takes a bath, bro? Take a shower. Baths are like so like 1900, bro. Take a fucking shower, okay? That's how you get maximum cleanliness, dog. A bath. If you take a bath, you're just sitting in your own fucking filth. Like I don't know. Like unless you take a bath and then shower or shower then bath. I don't know. It's like when you go to a pool. It's like or like a what do they have in Japan, an onsen, where it's like take a shower first and then use their hot tubs. It's like the same fucking thing. With that, Aoko returned her gaze to the mirror. Alice briefly looked up at Sojiro again before returning her gaze to the mirror. Oh my god, he just fucking warped out of there, dog. What the hell? Perhaps feeling at least somewhat satisfied with his greeting was acknowledged. Sojiro left the drawing room and closed the door behind him. Aoko was right. His clothes were a little soiled.
そうだな。もったいないけど、確かに。
It's a waste of water, but I guess I should. Sojiro returned to his room thinking that a bath might actually feel pretty nice in this cold weather, despite not really having broken a sweat at all during the day. Alright, my dog's just walking around. I don't know what he's doing. Hey, what are you doing, man? Calm yourself. It's not even raining. I mean, it wants to rain, but it's not at that level yet. Here we go. He climbed the stairs from the foyer and up the second flight into the attic. Wait, he has a shower or a bath in his attic? That's wild. I didn't... Okay. Unlike the other rooms in the mansion, this one had no frills to its decor. It was a little cumbersome to use as a living space, but comfortable enough for Sojiro. Everywhere else in the mansion was a little too gaudy for his taste. As far as a shelter and a place to sleep went, Sojiro was more than satisfied with fuck, I'm like fucking up so bad, you guys. Sojiro was more than satisfied with his accommodations. There was no electricity in the attic. That's fine. The only light was that which crept in from the small skylight. Not that Sojiro minded. He was more accustomed to living without electricity than living with it. That makes sense. With only the faint winter light to guide him, he readied a change of clothes and a towel before heading down to the foyer. Despite the magnificent size of the mansion, there was only one bath in the whole building. What the fuck? How the hell are you going to have a 27-room, one bath type situation? What is that? What the hell? Whoa, that's weird. And not a particularly large one at that. Whoever the architect was, he or she must have not thought of a bath to be so important. Or perhaps they were not the bath type. Yeah, shower, dog. Like, what are you doing? Sojiro descended to the foyer and made his way to the back of the stairs. He knocked on the door to the bath. As expected, there was no answer from the other side. The only other two occupants of the mansion were still talking in the drawing room. After confirming it was unoccupied, Sojiro quietly entered the bathroom. You better lock that fucking door, dude. Even though Sojiro was not aware of it himself, as was common for him, the only hobby he had acquired since coming down from the mountain was taking a nice relaxing bath. Sojiro had left, but the two girls were still locked into their heated discussion. Needless to say, the topic of their conversation was still that of the outsider mage who had appeared in Misaki City last month. This was, after all, the problem that had occupied their time before this whole situation with Sojiro arose, dealing with and eliminating the interloper who had set his or her sights on their territory.
今まではおとりにばっかり食いついてたから甘く見てたけど、それも計算づくだったのかしらね。
All this time we've been preoccupied by a decoy. No doubt also a part of their plan.
こっちが油断してる隙に本命を一つ奪われた。
Then, while we were distracted, they crept in and stole another one.
この相手との戦いはこれからが本番ってことか。
The fight against this mage has only just begun. The situation was growing more dire by the day. Until only a couple days ago, the enemy had limited themselves to small skirmishes, but now they had shifted to full-on offense. Aoko had two major bounded fields she used for defense. One, the larger of the two, was placed around Misaki City to detect magical energy and magecraft. This was used to observe and monitor visitors from outside of the city. It was initially set up by Aozaki's ancestors, the administrators of this territory, and had no way to be removed. The other was set up to energize and manage ley lines from within the territory. The 5 sigils carved into the earth made up a standard square type array, protecting all that lay within its bounds. After some manipulation of the mana flow, the power within was directed to accumulate at the Kuonji estate. This is to say, the bounded field existed to monopolize the magical energy within Misaki City. There were 5 sigils in total, with the Kuonji estate located in the center. If all 5 sigils were forcibly removed, Aoko's jurisdiction over this territory would only be in title only. Without the power of the land to back them up, they would be forced to fight back against their invaders on equal ground, with only their own innate abilities to protect them. The only reason Alice and the experienced Aoko were able to defend this territory so far was because of these 2 fields. The dragnet that notified Aozaki of any threats was also her lifeline. But this time, their enemy had somehow slipped through the cracks and was running rampant. This is what the girls had to face up to.
どちらにせよ時間の問題ね。
Is that all you're going to say? Okay, she said one thing and that was the entire sentence. Either way, it's just a matter of time at this point.
視点がすべて潰されたら、いよいよここでの籠城になるけど。いいの、青子。
Once all the sigils are destroyed, this mansion will be our last stronghold of defense. Are you okay with that, Aoko?
別にいいんじゃないの？
Of
ア
course
リ
not.
スの言う通り、残りの視点を消されるのは時間の問題なんだし。
I mean, what other choice do we have? Like you said, it's only a matter of time before the sigils are destroyed.
そりゃ敵のアジトを発見できれば同じだけど、それは絶対必要ってわけでもないでしょ？視点を消されても、私にはあんまり関係ないし。
Our best chance would be to find their hideout, but it's not exactly a necessity. They can remove the sigils for all I care. Well, from what I just read, you better start fucking caring, dog.
何より、館の守りはあんたがいる限り万全だしね。
As long as you're here, then the mansion itself shouldn't be a problem to defend.
あっちの方からやってきてくれるなら、それこそ飛んで火にいる、よ。
And if they do, then they're marching to their own demise.
他に心配事なんてないでしょ。
What else is there to worry about? Well, you got 2 witches and a guy that can run really fast. Well, not much of a defense.
そうね。敵が一人だけなら、 その時は鏡の範囲をここに集中させて戦場にすればいい。私たちにとってその方が有利だったわ。
Nothing, I suppose. With only a single opponent to deal with, we're better off focusing the field of the mirror on the estate and making this mansion our last line of defense. Alice touched the mirror on the table with her pale fingers. The surface of the mirror rippled like water. The mirror on the was the other protector of Misaki City, separate from Aoko's bounded fields. More accurately, it was a ploy that existed only to protect Alice Kuonji rather than Misaki City itself. It generated a thick fog and acted as an invitation to any visitors, drawing them into its board game-like world. Alice referred it to only as the mirror, but it was known to her friends as the Mirror of Slumber. This was a magecraft that Alice wielded. Within the rippling surface of the mirror, an image of a castle began to form, and also a lush forest, a field, and a river. Aoko stared at the mirror in silence, before suddenly jumping to her feet off the sofa.
そうと決まれば、あとは行動あるのみね。
Well, now that that's all decided, we can get back to actually doing stuff.
出かけるわよ、アリス。とにかく現場を見ないことには始まらない。
I'm going out, Alice. We can't do anything until we have eyes on the ground. Alice let out a tired sigh in response to Aoko's determination, then gave the mirror a gentle caress. The sound of dripping water filled the room. The mirror began to consume the table in a thick fog with a single caress from Alice.
順番に回るのなら帰るのは朝になるわね。
If we're visiting each sigil, we definitely won't be back until morning.
まあまあ、そう億劫がらないで。
Nah, we'll be home in no time.
ところでアリス、火の五芒星の退去ってこうだっけ？
Alright, I meant to ask you this. Is this the proper way to do a fire pentagram banishment? Aoko traced a shape in the air with her fingers. She mimed a star shape starting from the top, moving down and to the right, from there to the upper left, and so on. Wait, what? A star? I mean, that's not how I do a star, but we started from the top, moving down, to the right, No, that is how I do a star. Holy shit. Crazy, because I know people do stars in like their own different way, which is weird.
そろそろ壊すこと以外も覚えないとダメよ、青子。
It's about time you learn something other than how to break things, Aoko. Alice sat up from the sofa, letting out a heavy sigh. They both took their coats from their hangers and left the drawing room.
失礼ね。私だって日々成長してるわよ。
Well, excuse me. I guess I need to study some more on top of all the studying I already do.
この間のおまじないだってちゃんと成功したんだから。
Remember that charm I pulled off just the other day?
おまじない？
Oh. What charm?
簡単な暗示の呪文。
That simple mesmerize?
ほら、アリスが教えてくれた軽く弱く、うまく早く、チクタクチクタク、急げや急げってやつ。
You know, the one you taught me? Light and frail, nimble and quick, tick tock, there's no time to waste? That one.
それ、本当？
Are you being serious right now?
ほんともほんと。後で総重量に聞いてみなさい。
Yes, I'm serious. You can ask Sojiro later if you don't believe me. Aoko swallowed her words, clearly displeased. She lightly stopped herself in time to realize that it was not worth the effort to take issue with.
けど、留守中、その彼はどうするの？
On the topic, what will he do while we're away? He'll probably just fucking work like a normal person. I don't know what you guys expect him to do, man. You know, you're not giving him a sword or anything to fight anybody with, so.
大丈夫でしょう。アリスの西館と開かずの間に入らなきゃ即死するようなことは。
Sorry, I almost just choked on water. He'll be fine. As long as he doesn't try to go into the West Wing or anything like that, there shouldn't be any immediate threat to his... Aoko responded hastily as she opened the door to the foyer. As soon as she did, just as quickly as Alice's doubts had gone stuck in her throat, Aoko suddenly froze, unable to speak. Oh man, was my man just trying to take a shout? Damn! My boy is ripped! Yo! Oh, hold on. Dude, you gotta stop, man. It's not raining. You're acting like a baby. Lay on the bed. Lay on the bed. Hey, lay down. There you go. You're acting like a little fool. Foolish, I tell you. Yo, Alice is mesmerized. Look at her face, dog. She is like, yo. She's like, damn, I almost killed this dude. Uh, what? For a moment, Aoko was unsure who was standing before her. She only stared at the glinting rays of sunlight creeping into the room as she reeled from shock. Her mind was completely blank. It was as if she had just woken up from a nap, or a jack-in-the-box had just opened up in her face. Sojiro was probably the only person who truly knew how long that dumbfounded silence went on.
あんた、こんなところで何してるのよ、一体。
What the hell are you doing just standing there like that? Aoko had finally found her voice.
何って着替えてるんだけど。
What? I'm just changing clothes. Sojiro's response was matter of fact. He offered no explanation as to why he was changing in the foyer and not in the bathroom. Aoko was too shocked to read him the riot act. Sojiro was putting on a shirt after presumably just getting out of the bath. His neck was wrapped in bandages, and he was completely shirtless. His hair was wet, but his skin wasn't glistening from the steam of hot water. He must have washed himself with nothing more than cold water. Though shocked as to why anyone would do such a thing in this cold weather, she let it slide. Look, I'm from Florida. Cold showers are great. The source of her silent stupor was simply his body. Until now, she had only seen him as harmless, without his clothing to hide him. However, he was more fit than she had ever imagined. Yo, my boy is fucking... My boy is there, dude. Now they're gonna be like, yo, what? I mean, it makes sense. You know, he grew up in the mountains, so he's probably lifting like a lot of shit, like, I don't know, like trees, rocks. He's probably built like sheds and shit like that. So that would make that's just something you just naturally get over time, right? For a rough mountain upbringing, where one's body and strength meant survival, perhaps he was even a bit underdeveloped. And on top of that,
それ、傷跡なの？
are those scars? Aoko asked cautiously. Sojiro followed her gaze. He had something that looked like a burn scar on his arm. It was random in appearance, nothing like Aoko's magic crest with its ordered patterns.
ああ、これか。ずいぶん前に野犬の群れに襲われて噛みつかれたんだ。命があっただけでも幸運だから、傷跡ぐらいはご愛嬌だ。
Oh, this? Yeah, a long time ago I was attacked by a pack of wild dogs and they bit me. Funny enough, it's actually a miracle I'm even still alive. So if anything, I'm fond of this scar. A long time ago, he must have been talking about when he was a child. Though his life was saved, it was more apparent that he had not been able to receive proper treatment deep in the mountains where he lived. Those scars were proof of that. Considering it had happened so many years ago, it was likely they would never fade. If only for an instant, Aoko thought the wild scars left on her skin suited his lean body perfectly.
確かに、あまり気持ちのいいものじゃないな。自分の部屋で着替えるべきだった。
I know it's not pleasant to look at. I should have just changed in my own room. Well, I mean, that's what normal people do. Or just change in the shower when you get out. That's how that usually works. Sojiro sounded slightly ashamed as he put his shirt on, looking at Aoko standing there in the cold silence. The two girls had no response. Sojiro headed for the stairs to go back to his room.
ちょっと待って、宗十郎。
Wait a second, Sojiro.
Hmm?
Yeah. Sojiro stopped and turned around.
なんていうか。
So, how do I say this? Aoko looked away awkwardly, apparently not knowing why she had stopped him herself.
なんか青崎らしくない。
Huh? This isn't like you, Ozaki.
さっきから変だけど、熱でもあるんじゃないのか？あれから満足に寝てないだろ、二人とも。
You're acting strange. Did you get a fever or something? You know what's probably right. I bet neither of you have gotten enough sleep since that at all, have you? Meanwhile, Alice is sitting there fucking mesmerized, dog. It was, of course, referring to the final exams. From Sojo's perspective, the amount of work Aoko put in seemed strange.
熱なんてないったら。
I don't have a fever.
そうじゃなくて、どうしてこんなところで着替えてたのよ、あんたは。
That's not what this is about. I just want to know why the hell you're changing clothes here. Aoko was doing her best to keep up her appearances, but for some reason, Sojo was hesitant to say too much more.
それは、
Well, this isn't easy to say.
言いづらいんだが、下着の管理はきちんとした方がいいと思う。どっちだかは知らないけど。
But you need to take care of your underwear better. I don't know whose is it though. Dog, what? Alice, who had been completely silenced behind Aoko, couldn't resist responding to that statement. Although she hadn't wanted to get involved, this was something she couldn't ignore.
言っておくけど、それは青子だから。
Her face here is great. I must point out, it was definitely Aoko. Alice's response was quick and to the point.
洗濯の当番は確かに私だったけど。
I may have been in charge of laundry, but Aoko seemed like she was holding back on going critical.
とにかく、もうすぐアルバイトだから着替えてくる。
Anyway, I really had to get dressed or I'm going to be late for work. Sensing that those two were probably going to get into an argument, Sojiro took his chance to leave. And with that, Sojiro briskly left the scene.
アリス、
Alice?
とりあえず、片付けてくるわ。
I'll go clean up. This is what happens when you don't have two bathrooms, my guys. Alice calmly walked to the bathroom. A few minutes later, just as the two were about to head out and fulfill their duties as mages, Alko remembered something she wanted to ask.
そうだアリス、傷ってあれのこと？
Alice, do you think those scars were...
あれは傷跡じゃないわ。
No, I don't think so.
だって、あんなにも誇らしいもの。
He seemed so proud after all. Alko agreed. What had impressed her the most about those scars were how he treated them simply as part of his past, absent of any regret. Are you gonna have regret about a fucking pack of dogs fighting you? I mean, if the wild dogs attacked some family member of his and they died, then yeah, that would make sense. But it's just, you know, I don't know. I mean, like I remember when I was at work and I almost lopped my fucking fingertip off when I was like, because where I work at, we pre-pack medicine like you know like pills and shit like that, and it got jammed. And when I was like an idiot, I was fucking shoving my fingers up there to get the paper that you know like the paper to like fix it. I accidentally turned on the machine and it fucking clamped down on my shit. So I have like this scar like at the like near bottom of my finger now. That wasn't fun, I'll tell you that for a fact. But here we go, enough of that, enough about me. Alka wouldn't have gone so far as to say he was proud, but it seemed her instincts had been correct. That, and one more thing.
でも一つだけはっきりしたわ。
One thing is clear though.
それじゃあ、不覚にも見惚れてたのは私一人じゃなかったってことよね、アリス。
I wasn't the only one who was presently surprised at what I saw, was I, Alice? Alka smiled wearily at Alice, like a child who knew they were doing something they shouldn't with their friend. Alice was trying to ignore her as best as she could. She looked away without saying a word. Aoka let out a satisfied snicker and began walking towards the front door.
じゃ、行こうか。まずはあの公園からでいいでしょ。今回の件は、あそこから全てが始まったわけだし。
Let's get going. We should probably start at the park, right? Since that's where this all started. Yeah, definitely. And please do a better job at that, please. She was talking about the local park in Misaki. The place where they had run into the enemy puppets, and of course, where their involvement with Sojiro had all begun. Alright, I think that's where I'm going to end it, you guys. Get a nice quick half hour in here. I will be hopping onto this a little bit more, because like I said, I do want to finish this game. I don't want to go too long with it because it's almost been what half the year already. So that's gonna be it, you guys. Hope you guys did enjoy, and if you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's your boy White Album. I'll see you guys next time.